you hear me? 1, 2. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And today is actually a topic that is very, very close to my heart. I do want to talk a little bit about what we're actually building at wefox Group. So it's the #1 insurtech. We are not bootstrapped, that's the other business. So this business is actually the opposite. We're around for 4 years. We raised around 150 million in capital from some of the best investors in the world. We're actually scaling very fast. We're almost 300 employees now. We have 2 business models. One is wefox, which is scaling across Europe and globally now. It's a distribution platform. And one is our digital insurance company, plugged into our distribution platform, actually growing faster than most of the big brands you know in Germany right now, just launched last year. Now almost 100,000 customers on the platform already. But what I'm here to talk to you about is actually my purpose, my very personal purpose of why I do what I do. And it's all based on the third data revolution. So we have seen, as humanity, the first data revolution, which was the book printing. And it has changed our world over centuries dramatically. 20 years ago, we saw the second data revolution, the internet. And it has changed our world in a very short period dramatically. What we're seeing now is the third data revolution, the IoT data revolution. And in the next 5 years, we're going to see more change than what we've seen in the last 20 years. And this means the speed of human transformation needs to accelerate tremendously in order to keep up with this massive amount of change. So our generation has a big responsibility. And this responsibility is that the moment of singularity is going to happen very soon. IoT data is going to enable machines to not just become better in physical work, as it has been becoming better over the last 200 years, but also cognitive work. It's going to be better than humans in communicating and in analyzing and in creating ideas. And this is a really big responsibility for our generation. How can we create a USP for humanity versus technology? What we're faced with is the risk of the mass going on the street, not like in the last centuries because of exploitation from the elite, but because of irrelevance, and that's much worse. And that has the potential to kill humanity. Irrelevance. Not being able to create value anymore. Having no role in this world. Consciousness has evolved over the last 50,000 years. So the first humans were running away from everything that was threatening them. They were all about just safety, hiding behind trees, by themselves, surviving. Humanity has evolved from that and has realized that if we form groups and if we build relationships, and that's a second level of consciousness, and we realize that we love each other and protect each other, we are much more safe. And we explain the things that we cannot explain by asking the wise people, the old people. And they have magical explanations for why the sun goes up and down. And then, it's the rise of the ego. So the young people in the group are saying, why is this old guy leading us? I'm so much stronger and I'm so much fitter. I could lead this group of people. I can dominate these people. I can rule these people. And that's the third level of consciousness. Dominating other people through ego. The launch of ego. And human consciousness has evolved from that. It has evolved into how can we eliminate, reduce the consequences of a really violent human structure and nature. We need structures in our society that have rules. We can tell what is right and what is wrong. We build structures that make sure that people behave in a certain way. And that's the arrival of the church and very small brackets of how a human life could look like. And we even invented costumes that would tell where in the society are you. And we need somebody that tells us right from wrong, and that's God. And the closest to God is the Pope, and you can see him in his outfit. A very limiting but necessary stage of consciousness evolution. What then happened, and I always use this example of, an American city where all of the houses look the same, and they always go to church on Sundays, and the lives look pretty similar. All of a sudden, one of the neighbors drives in a Ferrari. They're like, Joe? Why does he have a Ferrari? I mean, I'm much smarter than him. I could get a Ferrari as well. And that's the switch from structure to competition. And it's not about in the ego phase, dominating other people, having power over other people, but it's beating other people. And that has really led the last 200 years to the craziest inventions humanity has ever made. We have been able to reduce child death by 99%. We have been able to create these computers in our hands. Amazing. But what's happening over the last 30 years is that people say, we have seen a lot of progress, but we've used the resources of our planet in a way. We have to live a life based on values, based on sustainability. And what happens over the last few years is a new level of consciousness. It's a really holistic view on the world. It is about none of these phases are bad. If you are on one of those phases below, you hate the worldview of the other. It's like somebody at the level 6, which is the value-based, meeting somebody at the level 3, which is Donald Trump, and saying women have fought for 2,000 years for their rights. Do you think this is something that will change Donald Trump's opinion? No. There's no common ground to have discussions, find solutions. But level 7, the holistic view, is about everything is part of me. I have gone through all of these phases. I'm that little animal myself. I need love. I have an ego, and I respect my own ego. I need structures. I need rules. I want to be the best, and I want to live a sustainable life. And all of that we can unite. And what I can tell you is that cognitive capability correlates to the level of consciousness of humanity. And what has happened over the last 50,000 years, we need to repeat over the next 15 years in the same amount. And we need ways, because if we are able to increase the amount of consciousness, we are able to create a sustainable USP for humanity. Because what happens up there, no technology is able to do. And our problem right now is that 90% of humanity is at level 3, 4, and 5. So how does this work, this transformation, moving up from one level to another? It's a painful process. It's always the same. You're in your level of comfort, in your comfort zone, and all of a sudden, you see things that don't make sense in your world. And the nicest thing that we humans like to do is push it away, not confront with it, stick to our bubble. But then, once we go and cannot resist these bad emotions that are facing us, we engulf in it, and it's usually a terrible experience. It's like the floor underneath our feet is pulled away. It's like, who am I? And only if I make it through, I will realize that there's a new world, a new horizon, a new perspective on the world, a new future. And I'm thankful for it. But that's only one step before the next step. And that's life. It doesn't stop. What I've realized is that my personal biggest impact that I can have is build organizations. Because I believe organizations are the best tool to develop consciousness collectively. Why? Because in every part of life, I can choose my friends, I can choose the people I'm spending time with, and I can really protect myself from different perspectives. I don't have to, even at Facebook, I only get the messages that I share. So at work, it's different, right? You are going to work and you meet people with different perspectives, with different opinions. And it's not so simple to just run away. And the beauty of increase of consciousness, it's a collective process. It's a spiral. One person changes and the entire group changes. Another person changes, the entire group changes. It's an unlimited spiral if you see it working. And that's really the main purpose of me creating organizations. And that's why I want to create really big organizations. To have an impact on as many people as possible and on their spouses and on their children, and to have an impact on the consciousness of humanity. I think organizations are the best vehicle to do that. So essentially, there's a lot of news about employees requesting more from their employers. Right now, they're requesting more of what I call level 6, ethical standards and so forth. But it's very short before employees requesting employers to really take personal growth and elevation of consciousness from their employers. And what we are doing at wefox Group is we are really taking our responsibility in building the society of tomorrow very, very seriously. And if people ask me, what is it about that you're building? Describe it in 2 words. I say if you boil it down, and there's only 2 words staying at the end, it's personal growth. Personal growth is the most valuable thing we can offer to our people, and it's the most valuable thing that the people can offer to the organization. And I believe that with having the people at the center of the organization, we can achieve anything. We're doing the right thing, and we are creating a USP towards competition. I know we're going to become the largest insurance player in the world, not because we're the smartest, not because we're the fastest, but because we put the people at the center. And we focus on their personal growth. We focus on unleashing their potential. And we create an organization without limitations, with unlimited power, that's leading the way for how humanity will look like in a few decades from now. We're creating a small microcosm of that. So I really want to encourage our generation of founders to take this responsibility very serious. It's not about making money. It's not about creating a great brand or a beautiful product. It is about helping people unleash their potential. Helping your employees to go on a journey and make them ambassadors of helping their friends and family to go on a journey. And making this a movement that will help humanity to create a USP versus technology. I remind you, what has happened in the last 50,000 years in terms of development of consciousness needs to be repeated in the next 15 to 20 years. And this is our responsibility as a generation. We have to take this serious. 90% of the people will have no jobs if it doesn't change. They will feel irrelevant. There's no purpose in their lives. Let's take this fucking seriously, okay? Thank you. Bye.